Hi there, it's Mark Carlson here. So if you like this channel, please do subscribe. If you like the video, hit the like button, and if you'd like to be notified when we post the videos each week, then hit the little bell. So this week's video, is there a hell? Is there a heaven? If so, how do you get to it? And how do you open the door to one and avoid the other one? Come on in. So, is there a hell? Is there a heaven? There's a topic for you. So to start with a little parable. In Japan, there's a Zen master called Hakuin, a really advanced Zen master, revered over all of the lands. And at the same time, there's a samurai warrior. Now the samurai warrior is a simple guy. He knows fighting. He knows how to kill, and he knows how to avoid being killed. But because of all the killing, he wants to know if there's a heaven and if there's a hell, and how he can get to the gates of heaven. If there is a heaven, how does he get there? So he's searching all over Japan to find this Zen master Hakuin. And when he finally finds him, there he is chopping wood, carrying water. Now, a different master. Anyway, he's doing something. And the samurai warrior comes to him and he says, I'm a samurai warrior and I want to know how to get into heaven. If there is a heaven, how do I get into it and how do I avoid hell? Now Hakuin was a very wise man. He looks at the samurai warrior and he says, you, a samurai warrior, you're nothing. So in this moment, the samurai warrior, his ego is inflated, he's angry, and he says, I'm a samurai warrior, I'm a leader of men. And at that moment, he's pulling out his sword and he's about to chop the head off Hakuin, the master. And right in that moment, Hakuin turns to him and he says, this is hell. Now the samurai warrior gets it. He got it. He stopped the flow just as he was about to chop his head off. Lucky guy, eh? He stopped the flow and put the sword back in its sheath. And Hakuin said, and this is heaven. So you see, hell and heaven exist within us, and they're determined by what we say to ourselves. Now, when you're angry, when you're in a really strong emotional place, what's often the case most of the time is that you're unconscious to what's actually happening. So something on the outside has triggered an imbalance in you, and anger or fear or a strong emotion comes up to cover the fact that you've got the imbalance. And the anger comes and you throw the stuff out rather than recognizing that there's something in here. Now, when you throw that stuff out, you remain unconscious. That's hell. When you remain unconscious and you're just triggered by things that happen via other people or situations, that is unconscious behavior, and that is what's known as hell in this little parable. When you get conscious, it doesn't mean the emotion won't come. It means that you're conscious of what's going on inside of you, and that's where you're able to change things, and that will be known as heaven. So hell and heaven don't exist outside of you. You know, from my point of view, I do believe in God, absolutely believe in God, but I think that God is a force of love and available to all of us. And I think that force of love has been interpreted and given a symbol. So in the Christian world, the symbol is Jesus. In the Muslim world, the symbol is Muhammad. And in the Asian world, the symbol is Buddha. Now, it's not that they didn't exist, they did exist, but they were representing a higher level of consciousness that they attained. So God is that higher level of consciousness that is available to all of us. And my view on God is that God doesn't judge. There's not a man up in a throne that says, this is a Christian view obviously, that says this is right and this is wrong, and if you don't do this, then you'll go to hell, and if you do this, you'll go to heaven. I don't buy that at all. I think that God is a loving force, a strong, loving force. Now, an obvious question that would be, well, if God is a strong, loving force, then how could all of the atrocities that happen? So This can only be understood if you really understand that life is eternal, that we come here time and time and time again, and yes, we do physically die, but the consciousness that we realize ourselves from inside of it, the point of consciousness that looks at this video right now, the point of consciousness that you are, that decides things, that takes action on things, that point of consciousness never dies and it stays aware. So what I'm about to say can only be understood if you understand that life is eternal. So God will not judge you for the actions, but there is karma to play. Because whatever action you give out has to be balanced. So if you do negative things in the world, you'll have to pay that price. If you kill, you will have to pay the price of that. Hurting another life is not okay, never. Not from the space that we are, that is love. Never. That's never okay. So if you hurt another being, you'll have to pay the consequence of that. And sometimes, I think that even if you get away with it this lifetime, you'll have to come back and pay for it. That's why some of the people who are genuinely innocent in prison are probably paying karma from before. Of course, I don't know that to be the truth, but I would imagine that's the case because karma balances everything. But no matter what we do, because we are connected to the one thing that is known as love or God, we'll always be loved by God because it is itself. But there will be a price to pay. You'll have to pay your karma. So bear that in mind when you consciously know you're doing something out of integrity. Don't do it because you'll have to pay for it. Do, to the best of your ability, as many loving and kind things as you possibly can. So is there heaven and hell? Yes, there is, but it exists inside of you, and it's determined by what you make things mean. It's also determined by how conscious you can be in any given moment, right? Remember, the hell is when you're unconscious and you let imbalanced patterns inside of you allow your emotional body to come forward. The heaven is when you get conscious of yourself. Have an absolutely fantastic day when you watch this, and I look forward to talking to you again next time. Thank you so much.